Greetings, YouTube. So I was listening to a news piece this morning concerning swing voters, people that were still on the fence about whether they were going to vote for Harris or Chump. Now, I have absolutely no way of grasping how these people can exist because the difference between those two candidates is so stark, there is no comparing them. Harris is a functional human being with years of experience in politics and public service. Chump is a con man and a white nationalist. These are not comparable. All right. But one of the things that baffles me even more is that people that think that Chump is going to be good for the economy. This is a man that bankrupted a casino. A casino is a money making machine. You go to work, you push a button, and the casino prints money. As long as you don't get in the way, you were rich. And yet somehow he bankrupted one. Why? Because he's an idiot. He's not qualified to run a lemonade stand, let alone have anything to say about the economic structure of this country or any country, anywhere. He shouldn't be in charge of his own goddamn bank account. He'd probably be better off if he just handed it off to somebody else. Maybe a casino with his name on it run by someone else would do better. Who knows? But they also said that they felt that having a woman president would be putting someone into power. It would be too emotional, so it would be risky. Has anyone ever watched Chump speak in public? Have you ever watched him have to answer a question that pushed even the teensiest button he has, or pushed back at his rhetoric even the smallest amount? Have you read his Twitter? And I'll continue to call Twitter Twitter so long as cisgender Musk refuses to call his daughter Vivian Vivian. So he wants me to call it something else. He can start calling Vivian Vivian. Um, but he's unstable all the time. And it's not even taking into account that like he spent 39 minutes dancing during a press conference instead of answering questions. What would have happened if Biden did that? Why is it that the mainstream media softballs everything the white nationalist does, but comes at Harris and Biden with a 40,000 watt laser powered microscope and absolutely needs to know every detail to the 17th decimal place. And yet they'll just ignore a senile old man dancing to music for 39 minutes who's supposed to be considered a viable candidate. But anyone that thinks that Chump is more emotionally stable than Harris, hell, is more emotionally stable than anyone, is out of their goddamn mind. I'm sorry. I can't wrap that around that. You were either out of your mind or you were so deeply enmeshed in wanting to put a white nationalist back in the White House that you're willing to ignore everything. And I think that far too many of the people who say that they're on the fence are just don't want to admit that they're supporting white nationalism. They want to support white nationalism, but it's the don't want it admitting part that gets in the way. They don't want people to point to them and say, hey, you're supporting white nationalism. Though they would be really thrilled if there were white nationalists in charge. They would just like to have it all done on the DL so that they didn't have to be held responsible for the atrocities that white nationalism has committed in the past, is committing in the present, and will commit in the future, particularly if we give them even more power. They like what white nationalists do. They just don't want to admit that they like what white nationalists do. There's no one in the world that's easier to lie to than yourself. And I think that anyone that considers themselves a swing voter is doing just that. They're lying to themselves. You think Chump's going to be good for the economy? You're out of your mind. You think he's more stable than Harris? You're out of your mind. I can't sugarcoat this. There's no way to get around that. If you vote for Chump, you're supporting white nationalism. I don't care what's in your heart. I don't care if you have no racist bones. You are supporting white nationalism. and you will be painted with that forever. And anyone that I encounter in the real world right now that supports Chump, unless it's absolutely part of my job duty, I'll never speak to them again. I have nothing. I don't care who you are in my life. I don't care how long I've known you. You're gone. Because I cannot tolerate having white nationalists in my life. And if you're willing to support Chump, you're willing to support white nationalism. But yeah, you think Chump is more stable than Harris? Yeah, that's just crazy cakes.